Well, when I was a little girl, I was probably like 8, when maybe younger, but we had an old sow that wouldn't feed her pigs, and they were mean if they didn't want their little pigs. So Dad brought them all in a box into our basement, and we had these little bottles that you feed pigs with, and I'm telling you, it was fun, but they were pigs, milk a flying all over, but we did, and we, till they could be on their own, we put them in the basement, had them in the basement, and it was fun. It was fun. So, yep, little baby pigs, and they were pigs. Then we had little lambs once that we fed with a bottle, and they were so cute. Of course, we fed calves. We had a bucket that hung on the side of the fence to feed calves, and it had the nipple on, and you'd fill the bucket and they would pig out on that. But we didn't have to hold a bottle for them. They were big enough to drink themselves, but yeah, it was fun to watch them. So I'm fixing these hot pickles. They're a little hot for me, but I know some of my family will want them. And then we've got a cheese tray here, the charcuterie. I don't explain it right. And with all the cheeses, and this is goat cheese with fig spread on, and it is good. Sherry made it. And then we got our vegetables over here. Then putting crackers here. Have to have crackers. So, and some olives, of course. So, I believe that's about it that we're putting out right now. Turkey will be done at 3. Actually, the turkey will be done at 2, but we won't eat until 3. So, I'll put some crackers out here. The wheat thins. Very good. Oh, why do I like doing this? Sherry asked me. Oh, I just love to feed people. Then I get to taste everything though before, see?
So what about your stories when you were young, and how you would set the table, you would get so excited when you get out the fancy different things?
Well, when Mom liked to, she liked to be fancy once in a while, and we were kind of plain farmers, but we would get out the good dishes, and Mom would fix a nice dinner. But also, when I was growing up, and this was before we moved to the farm where my grandparents lived, they had thrashers that came and did the wheat and stuff, and my great-grandma, had a big dining room, huge table. Now, it seems to me like it was really big. She got out her best dishes and glassware and everything to feed the thrashers. They would come in and eat dinner, and then us kids, there was 4 of us, we were like little hungry pigs always, and so we would get to eat after they ate, and it was just really a big deal. I mean, I just can't imagine any farmers doing that now. Of course, they don't have thrashers. They just have these big combines and everything, and take the food to the field. And when my dad was combining and stuff, we would take the dinner to the field. But this was way back when, in the 40s, and my grandma, yes, she did. She fixed a spread like you wouldn't believe, and it was all her leaded glasses, cut glass. I mean, it was quite a deal. She had these big meals, and her stove, I don't know if she had it was a big kitchen, but also if she cooked in a little tiny kitchen, and she had a kerosene stove, coil, what it was. It was a green thing, and it had a thing on the end that bubbled, and you could get gloop, 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 and that's what she cooked on. And then it had a big oven thing that sat on the end, and she baked. But boy, she was a good cook. Yeah.
What did you learn to cook on?
An electric stove.
Your parents had an electric stove when you were young and cooking?
Yes, when we moved to the farm, Dad put in an electric stove. He said Mom didn't want to use a coal oil stove, but yes, he kind of remodeled that little kitchen. I mean, it wasn't very big at all. The little kitchen where you cooked, the kitchen where we ate was big, and then off of that was the big dining room. But yeah, it was a big deal when my mom got to use the. But when I was a real little girl, we lived in a house that a tornado hit. Okay, and then we had to move. But there was the stove in there was a wood stove, and it had the reservoir, you know, where you kept the water hot, and had up above where you put your. I mean, it was really, if it was a gas stove or something, it would really be neat. Now, I mean, they have them, but it was a coal, not coal, but wood stove. Had to stoke it. And we did have a refrigerator with the legs, and a little tiny freezer that didn't hold anything really. Not even ice cubes, I don't think, probably. But yes, it was quite a deal. But you know, we didn't know there was anything better, and probably wasn't at that time. And but we always had food. We always had a garden, and then my great grandparents raised beef and stuff, and then when my great grandpa passed away, then we went to live on the farm. I was probably about 8, and live on the farm with great grandma. That's the way they did it back then. So we bombarded her, 4 of us kids. But she had a big house. She had her own quarters, so it was a good thing. And she passed away probably 3 years after we moved there. But we did the gardening and everything, and the yard, and yeah, we had a big picket fence all around, and I remember us kids having to paint it. Not fun. Now they spray them. We didn't then. We also had a push mower that had the little blades, you know. It was a big yard, big barnyard, but we got through it, and hey, it didn't hurt us. So, consequently, I learned how to cook, and I didn't really become a really cook until after I was married. I mean, I cooked some before, but not much. I started making rolls before we were married, and I thought it was, I'd make coffee cakes, and I really got into baking then. But the first spaghetti I ever made, I didn't put the hamburger in. I didn't use a recipe, and it wasn't very good. But Grandpa ate it. He said, I think maybe next time you need to put hamburger in this. I said, well, you know what? I have that nice cookbook. I'm going to start with a cookbook. So I do like to use cookbooks. I like cookbooks.
Should we open up the cabinet? Oh, no.
Yeah, don't look in my cabinet or on my bookshelves.
What was your first cookbook?
Better Homes and Gardens. Better Homes and Gardens.
The red and white?
The red and white checked, yeah. I think that was about everybody's first cookbook. I have some old cookbooks that people have used, you know, just little paper cookbooks. but the Better Homes and Gardens, they had good instructions in there. You can learn how to cook. I had a friend in Van Wert, when we lived in Van Wert, that said she couldn't boil water. And I said, now wait a minute. All you got to do is read. She was a college graduate and said she couldn't cook. And I said, you need to get a cookbook. I think she finally did, because she was having children. Well, you can't just feed your kids hot dogs. Well, I guess some people do, but you got to have some healthy food. Right, Krista?
Right.
So that is my story today.